Here's everything you missed from Friday Freebies 25, I mean, SocaSmash Free-for-All. Drawing in 14 players from across the greater Myrtle Beach area, SocaSmash FFA promised to be a competitive slugfest as all players involved really wanted/needed the first place prize, a stick of Old Spice deodorant. Weekly mainstays like LTA, HNC, and Patley came to hopefully get a first place punch in their ticket, while CCU players like Peanut and DJ Whaletrain came out of the woodworks to play and add some spice to the bracket out of their own volition and not because I asked them really nicely. Pando was surely looking for some redemption after being upset by Ganon player Flames Rage a few weeks prior, and storied rivals Xerath and Light no Yagami came out of retirement for this tournament, creating some tension because they both have anime gamer tags. The countless storylines colliding and with infinite upset potential brewing, the bracket starts and everyone is off to the races. Winners Round 1 comes and goes in a flash, accompanying with it a big upset. Everything goes as expected besides this upset as Mad King 776, perhaps angry at getting wrongfully chewed out prior to the bracket, defeats HNC in a 3-game squeaker. HNC playing 3 characters in 3 games SDs 3 times total and falls to an early losers. I really don't envy anyone in their path. I mean, are you seeing these rests? Meanwhile, Ribblediv, a man with a very nice voice that might be addicted to Street Fighter friendlies, beats Peanut in 3, a set that took 16 minutes and roughly a gigabyte off my hard drive. Moving to winners quarters, it's business as usual for Patley as he shows Jose who the superior Asian is, for like the 3rd time in a row. LTA, happy to have dodged HNC, moves up as well, beating Mad King in 2. Ribblediv finds himself with the game 1 win after a slick F-smash against Pando, but Pando is able to close it out in the next 2, sending Ribble to losers. Speaking of that lower bracket, longtime rivals Xerath and Light no Yagami meet up for the first time in what feels like years in LR1. 5 characters were played in 3 games, and when the dust settles, Xerath comes out on top. Light in a post-game interview echoes the words of the legendary Chillin saying, quote, "My B." Unquote. Local TO Yosh is not the latest victim of Flames Range's Ganon, squeaking out game 1 with a last stock last hit spike, and then closing out the set with a JV3. This sets up for a CCU team kill and losers, with Flames Range taking out DJ Whaletrain. Quick aside, I don't really know if I should be categorizing certain players as CCU players because, like, some players who go to the Myrtle Beach tourneys like regularly are also CCU students. So do they count as CCU players? I don't really know. I think I've put myself into a semantic hole here, but that's besides the point. I digress. Winner semifinals is on the horizon and it starts with Pando and Yosh. Yosh barely squeaks out game 1 against Pando with a dash attack in a last hit situation. Pando enters back with something that I don't think Sonic F-Smash should be able to do. Game 3 goes the distance with both players on last stock, Yosh making up about 100% of damage, but ultimately unable to close it out. Pando advances to winners finals, while on the other side of bracket, Patley is pyro-daring his way to a game 1 victory against Lucky the Almond. LTA stays evasive though and is able to close out the next 2 in a pretty convincing fashion. Patley's Pyrodare notably failing him a few times here. After dropping to losers, HNC wins 3 sets in a row and makes top 6. Shout out to Ribble though, I really like this cheeky little spike right here. Also steadily making his way through the losers bracket is Josemet, who wins 2 in a row to meet up with his fellow TO Yosh. Josemet takes the set 2-0 with a pair of punishes, but Yosh hit me with this, so who's the real winner? Sparring partners Patley and HNC continue to have the weirdest neutral ever, as Patley wins game 1, forcing HNC off Falcon. Now armed with the dock, HNC mind controls Patley into jumping into an up smash to win game 2. Pat doesn't fall for the same trick twice though, and pretty decisively wins game 3, advancing to losers semifinals. In losers semifinals, it's business as usual for Patley as he shows Jose who the superior Asian is, for like the 4th time in a row. Meanwhile, in winners finals, the first best of 5 set of the tournament takes place. Pando and LTA have played countless times, and for the first 2 games, LTA just does a bit of a better job surviving into those dark red percents. This leads to her getting a substantial amount of extra credit on Pando and winning the first 2 games. In game 3, however, Pando is able to more effectively close out the stocks, leading to the start of a potential reverse sweep. That is quickly denied by a pretty decisive 2 stock from Lucky the Elman in game 4. LTA guarantees at least 2nd place by moving up to Grands, and Pando moves down to losers finals to meet Patley. In losers finals, Patley loses a lot of momentum pretty early on by getting spring gimped at a really low percent. He then gets F-smashed and then spring gimped again to lose the first game of the set. Switching off Aegis, Patley takes a risk and chooses Joker. When Patley goes down a stock and then almost gets lapped, it starts to look like this gamble isn't going to pay off. But after a spin dash into the blast zone and some really good Arsene timing, Patley is able to clutch up game 2. Game 3 is looking really similar to game 2. Pando is getting more and more of a lead, until suddenly it's last stock. But Pat's at like 90%. There's no way he can... After grabbing Sonic out of spin dash, Patley evens up the percents, lands a down air, up air, and clutches out game 3 the same way he clutched out game 2. Back against the wall with the potential of only one more game in the entire tournament, Pando decides to gamble as well, pulling out the old reliable. But the rust still might be on this Ridley because it's not looking like this gamble is paying off. Patley's Joker is just able to pump out more damage and oh no, not like this. Patley got cheesed 2 games in a row, and that means Pando gets the LTA run back. Now, I'm of the opinion that LTA and Pando, at least at this moment in time, are at the exact same level. Whoever wins their sets, I think, is just determined by who shows up that day. So at a tournament where the prize pool is $0 and the trophy is a stick of deodorant, you really have to ask, which one of these players wants it more? Let's find out. First blood goes to LTA, who acquires a decent amount of extra credit that eventually accumulates into a full stock lead. But during this interaction right here, Sonic, while in the air, pushed Robin just enough to the right so that Robin couldn't snap ledge with the recovery. This turns LTA's advantage from a stock into a neutral win. They get each other to last hit, and Pando kills with an F-smash that hits while Lucky is behind Sonic. It starts to look like Pando is gonna run away with game 2, being a stock and a half ahead, but then Lucky pulls out a down air. Pando tries to air dodge back to stage, but it doesn't work for some reason. My only theory is that maybe Elwind has a win box when it hits the stage, and it pushed Sonic away, but I can't find anything on the internet about this. It doesn't really matter all that much though, because Pando takes this game with a spring, 1 game away from the reset. Lucky then wins the next 2 games, both on Hollow Bastion. Both of these games are just solid scraps. They were trading stocks the entire time until Lucky was able to get a real advantage on the last stock both times. Game 5 of set 1 and potentially the last game in the entire tournament was played on Town and City. Both players played really passive, only going in when they felt sure that they had an advantage. Lucky took the first stock, but eventually Pando started running away with it after equalizing. And with the roll read bear, we enter True Finals. As you'd probably expect, Game 1 of True Finals goes to last stock, last hit, and LTA goes for a fair out of disadvantage under the stage, thinking that 11 fair at 150% is surely untechable. It's techable, and without a jump, Lucky gets stage spiked by a spring. Game 2 of True Finals, Lucky lives to 184% and almost brings it all the way back from a 1 stock deficit, but Pando clutches up and prevents the comeback, now up 2-0. LTA wins Game 3 by virtue of never ever letting go of the second stock, and mounts an amazing comeback in Game 4, being down an entire stock and forcing a Game 5. It's now a best of 1 to decide who the SocaSmash free-for-all champion is, and the game goes a little bit like this. Pando takes a stock, and then Lucky takes a stock, and then Pando takes a stock, and then Lucky takes a stock, and on last hit, final stock, Game 10,